All right, so we did our first Q&A, Ask Dave, a couple weeks ago, and we got so many questions that we figured we're just going to keep rolling with it. We're going to try to do them more often. So here we go. At Michael VGE said, I'd like you to justify why you think that the latest Star Wars is the, quote, best yet, as I disagree and rate it alongside Hunger Games in acting, and it just seemed like a remake of A New Hope, but the special effects and 3D were outstanding. Okay, so if you don't follow me on Twitter, which I cannot believe you don't, I did tweet that I thought it might be the best Star Wars ever. Yeah, I'm talking about The Force Awakens. So let me lay it out for you. When you factor in the amount of heavy lifting that this movie had to do, not only reboot a franchise, but also make people forget about the prequels, bring in all the old actors from the originals, as well as introduce a new cast, bring in new villains, bring in new good guys, make it feel like the old one so you felt good about the whole thing again, bring in the sense of humor and not have the dialogue be stiff like it was. And all of that stuff, when you bring all of that together on top of the overexposed media and all of that, I think the lift was so big here that when you factor everything in, I think you actually could say that this was the best one. That being said, if you remove some of the stuff that has nothing to do with the movie, the pressures of the actors and linking everything together 30 years later, if you remove that, I would still say that probably A New Hope, the original Star Wars, is the best. I know a lot of people say Empire is the best. I would say probably New Hope, but I thought the movie was pretty great. They've set up so much good stuff. I don't want to give any spoilers in case anyone on Earth hasn't seen it, although I saw this morning that it displaced Avatar as the highest grossing movie of all time. But yeah, it was pretty damn awesome. There you go. All right. Sven asked, could you please give any advice on how to counter a very popular narrative at this moment? Because the media have failed to label the Oregon militiamen as terrorists, they expose the racism and bias towards how they portray colored people during acts of violence of some sort. As a white person, I feel like I can't even begin to speak my opinion about the matter if I first don't agree with this narrative. Is it possible to create a dialogue that allows for dissent or even a little nuance when it is such an emotionally charged reaction of outrage? Okay, so this is a really great question. Now, I think we're gonna post this video probably 2 or 3 days after I say this. So at the moment when I'm saying this right now, no violence has taken place, right? So this armed group of people, they took this building, this wildlife refuge building in Oregon. Apparently there was no one in the building, and it sounds like they didn't even have to break in, they just took the building. I'm not defending the actions in any way, but no one was actually terrorized in actually taking the building. And at the moment there seems to be no threat of violence. I've seen the guys on TV and they're saying that they're not intending to use violence unless the government use violence. Now, at the same time, the government can't just sit there and let people take over a federal building, so perhaps violence will come out of this. It makes it extremely hard to talk about. One of the things I tweeted, I Googled the actual definition of terrorism, and it talks about intimidation and violence. So maybe if you change that from intimidation or violence, well, you have intimidation here because these people have weapons. They haven't done outright violence yet, but I suppose you could argue that taking over a federal building, even if no one was harmed and there's no hostages or direct threat to any citizens, is an act of terror. I mean, the one thing that I really see in this thing is that, of course, the lines are being drawn. If you don't like these people and you don't like what they stand for, of course you're going to hate what they do and want to call it terror, and the reverse goes for the other side. I think it's important to just actually learn about what these guys want, which I'm in the process of doing myself right now. Okay, next up, at Chris R. Gunn, with the regressive left in power positions in big organizations like Wikipedia and Twitter, places that have a stranglehold on information and how we share it, do we really have a chance to dismantle the narrative? I mean, this is obviously a great question because the regressives, the ideas of the regressives seem to be big in a lot of the Silicon Valley places, right? So I think the best thing you can do, and this is how I would answer any question related to the regressive left. And by the way, I got a zillion Star Wars questions, but I got a zillion regressive left questions. I'm happy to mix it up too. But I would say in answer to anything related to the regressive left, the best thing that we can do is say what we think. is share videos that are explain how you feel about things, share memes, share your ideas, because they can't silence everybody, right? And their ideas and their attacks of bigotry and racism and all the stuff that we talk about all the time have become so insincere that they're worthless at this point. So you just got to keep sharing what you think and sharing the right liberal ideas if you're liberal, and if you're not, if you're conservative and you want to share some ideas, share those ideas. Whatever you are, share them and let the best ideas win. Dylan asks, would you be willing to have an academic scholar of religion on the show? What do you think of the secular study of religion in academia, of which I'm a part of? I absolutely would. You know, I'm a little conflicted about the religion thing because we've talked a lot about religion here. I don't even care that much about religion. I think we should be governing ourselves on secular values. That should be clear to you guys at this point, right? So I think the more we focus on religion, we're actually giving too much away to the religious when we should really be focused on how do we govern a secular society and care about the laws of the land and the Constitution and care about our individual freedoms and that kind of stuff. That being said, because religion is important to a lot of people and it helps define how they live their lives, I would definitely be interested. We've had obviously a lot of atheists on, but I am looking for people from the faith-based community, and I have a couple in mind from a bunch of different religions, so stay tuned for that. Andrew said, is there a difference between watching your show on Aura or watching on YouTube? I addressed this once in a video a while back. So yeah, everything being equal, Aura is our home. Aura is producing the show, Aura, which was co-founded by my friend Larry King. And they're producing the show, and all the promotion that I do for the show on Twitter and Facebook and all that is to get people to watch on Aura. The 100% truth of that is that if you guys watch on Aura, because Aura has their own sales team, it makes a lot more money per view, and then we can do more with the show. I'm not paid per click, I assure you, but that would help out in that way. We really want YouTube to just be the sort of promotional side of it, but we know that a lot of people watch here, so we've just been we put stuff on Aura, a lot of people watch there, that's great. We put stuff on YouTube, knowing that a lot of you just want to do it on YouTube, that's cool too. We're doing the podcast thing, we're on iTunes. However you get it, you get it. If you want to watch it in all places, that I suppose would be ideal. At Sans10_, what is your favorite anime? Be honest. You know, I'm not a huge anime guy, which may sound surprising to some of you guys because you know I love like all the cartoons and toys and all that stuff. But I will tell you that my favorite animated movie of all time, this is not anime, but it's an animated movie, is the 1985 original Transformers movie. This is way before Michael Bay grabbed a hold of this thing and destroyed my childhood. I just heard this week, by the way, that he's doing number 5, but then he's going to let it go after that, thank God. But the original Transformers movie is fantastic. The animation's incredible. The soundtrack's incredible. I cried in the movie theater. I saw it in the movie theater and cried. My grandma took me with my brother. I cried in the movie theater. Some bad stuff happens. They kill people. It's dirty. It's dark. But it's just a great, great movie. Okay, and finally, at Arcadia Div, what's Rubin Report's 5 to 10 year plan? All right, well, look, we want to get this thing on television, right? We're doing the digital thing right now. We're on Roku, and as I said in the question before, you can watch us on Aura.tv, you can watch us on YouTube, the podcast and iTunes and all those places. But ultimately, look, I still, not you, maybe you too, but I want to get this thing on television. I want the word to spread about what we're doing. I think we're having important conversations, and I think we're having conversations about things that people want to hear about, and people are just tired of the same old crap that's on television and this like endless battle between, oh, you think this and you think this, and let's just yell about it and fight with each other. People are sick of it. They actually want to hear about ideas. So I think however we can get that bigger and wherever we can take this thing, that's what we're going to do. Anyway, I thank you guys for doing it. You can always play along. It's at Rubin Report on Twitter, Facebook.com/Rubin Report, Aura.tv/Rubin Report, iTunes, just search Rubin Report. I just said Rubin Report 1,000 times, and we'll probably do this again next week. All right, there you go.